So yesterday we saw about some of the references on environmental ethics. Today I am going to give you many quotes on environmental ethics written by scholars, philosophers, theologians, environmental ethic writers. So these are very, very profound insights into what environmental ethics is all about. Actually, these quotes, they talk about, some of them, about creation-centered ethics and also deep ecology ethics. The first two, I don't think many people talk about it, but here and there you find a very scarce reference, but you get a lot of insights on creation-centered approach model ethics and deep ecology model ethics. So let us read some of the quotes. Today is the last day. So I think it's a kind of summarizing what we have been learning for the past 4 or 5 days. It is fun way of learning and fun way of summarizing what we have learned. Next. There are many noted works. Some of them I already quoted on the slide. You can see the names of the authors and also the works they have created. Thomas Gray, James Thomson, William Collins, George Grab, John Keats, Ode to Melancholy, William Wordsworth, Lyrical Ballads, Lord Byron, When We Two Parted, and also the German environmental ethic writer and the poet John Wolfgang von Goethe, very famous writer. So these are some of the famous writings of that time, which talks about creation-centered approach and deep ecology approach model of ethics. Some of the poems, the great works, they indicate lot of values. So far we have seen only instrumental value and intrinsic value. So that is what I was teaching to you. But there are so many other values I didn't even refer. But today I want to point out what are they, but the poems indicate. But anyway, these are the values which we missed for the past 5 days. Scientific value, that means environment, ecology, natural world has scientific value too, and the ecological value, and also it has economic value, social amenity value, biophilic value, biophobic value, transformative value, spiritual value, aesthetic value, educational value, historical value, recreational value, moral value, symbolic value. Of course, it is like 10 commandments summarized into 2 commandments: love of God, love of neighbor. In the same way, all these different values are summarized into 2 broad categories known as the instrumental value and intrinsic value. For example, scientific value is instrumental value. Ecological value is intrinsic value. Economic value is the instrumental value. Biophilic value is the intrinsic value. See? So all these subheadings on value, they fall under 2 broad categories: instrumental and intrinsic. William Wordsworth. We are talking about William Wordsworth, a famous poet. Many of us can relate with him because we studied about him in our college days. The famous poem was the Daffodils, in which daffodils symbolize human person. So how he was comparing daffodils being destroyed by industrial revolution, and finally he is stating that it is not the daffodils that were destroyed, it is humans that are destroyed because of science and technology. So William Wordsworth writes as follows: life is divided into three terms: that which was, which is, and which will be. Let us learn from the past to profit by the present, and from the present to live better in the future. Actually, William Wordsworth poems, they expressed mostly educational value, especially the lyrical ballads, which was written by him and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. They expressed about educational value, how all wisdom comes from nature. It is not the nature learning from humans, no. Nature will never learn from the humans. Only humans learn from the nature. The lost world of nature, same William Wordsworth is writing, that through the radiance which was once so bright, be now forever taken from my sight. Though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, glory in the flowers, we will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind. What a wisdom we gain from this quote. It simply says, don't worry about what has been lost, but concentrate and focus on what remains and save it, preserve it, conserve it for the sake of the future generations. As I told you, 80% of the natural world is already lost to the planet forever. Only 20% remain. Let us value and let us save it for the future. Leo Tolstoy writes as follows: one of the first conditions of happiness is that the link between man and nature shall not be broken. So that is the new covenant. He finds ecological value in the natural world, and he calls for a new covenant. As God made covenant with Noah, animals, and rest of creation, we also need to make covenant with God and the rest of creation. Henry Thoreau, yesterday I talked about him. I want the brothers to note all the names and also their works so that you can place an order in your library. And also this is going to be your bibliography. Okay? I'm not going to give you a bibliography separately. This all names and their works, they are good for your bibliography. All right. Henry Thoreau writes, there are moments when all anxiety and stated toil are be calmed in the infinite leisure and repose of nature. Our souls are recharged. Our bodies get rest. So Henry Thoreau's writings were stating that nature has a spiritual value, which is an intrinsic value. Wilderness to Thoreau was something special. A swamp for him was a sacred place, a sanctum sanctorum, holding the strength and marrow of nature. In that sense, even the Kuvam River in Chennai can be a sanctum sanctorum, a sacred place for a person, one who can see the reality. one who can see the truth in the Kuvam river, it becomes a sacred place, a sanctum sanctorum. People can reason out why it has become like that, why Kuvam river looks like that, because of inner dimension of humans is corrupt, so the outer world is also corrupt. You learn. It's a sacred teaching. Open your eyes and see in your Kavarapettai Becky institution campus. There are small places where sometimes you find dirt, you find rubbish, swamp here. See the swamp? It symbolizes as if it doesn't have any value. It's rubbish. It's rubbish. But for Thoreau, it is a sacred place, a sanctum sanctorum, because it teaches some profound things about life, maybe about passion, death, resurrection. It can be a swamp today, tomorrow it can be a beautiful garden. So it is called succession. Succession means a swamp will change into a garden. A garden will change into swamp. They are interchangeable. A desert becomes a tropical rainforest. Rainforest becomes desert. Yes. That is what swamp symbolizes. The point is, everything in nature can inspire you. We call Kuvam is dirty, but in nature it is not dirty, it is a process. It's a process. Kuvam may be in the process of becoming a spring later on. We never know. Luther Burbank, he writes as follows: if you violate nature's laws, you are your own prosecuting attorney, judge, jury, and hangman. And he writes in a book called How Plants Are Trained to Work for Man. That is, of course, instrumental value book. Pope Francis is also saying that if you destroy nature, nature will destroy you. There is a beautiful saying called, what goes around comes around. If you destroy a tree, it is not the tree that was destroyed, it is your future that is being destroyed. Yes. If you spoil or if you contaminate soil, your civilization will collapse. As Delano Roosevelt, American president, puts it, a nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. Simple quote, but beautiful quote. A nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. That is, what goes around comes around. This is a beautiful quote from Chief Seattle from the 1855. How we are connected. As I told you yesterday, you go, they don't go. They go, you go. That is the poem. Again, I want to remind you. You go, they don't go. They go, you go. The white man must treat the beast of the land as his brother. What is man without the beast? If all the beasts were gone, man would die from a great loneliness of heart and spirit. For whatever happens to the beasts also happens to the man. You can read this quote again and again and again. It states one of the profound truths that we can learn from the natural world. John Muir again, I can't get enough of this man. He is unbelievable, unbelievable. He writes as follows: nature's object in making animals and plants might possibly be first of all the happiness of each one of them, not the creation of all for the happiness of one. Why should man value himself as more than a small part of the one great unit of creation? And what creature of all that the Lord has taken the pains to make is not essential to the completeness of that unit, the cosmos? The universe would be incomplete without man, but it would also be incomplete without the smallest transmicroscopic creature that dwells beyond our conceitful eyes and knowledge. Yes. This quote is a deep ecology, ethical quote. Also, creation-centered approach. Moral ethics quote too, because it talks about the importance of each and every creature, whether great or small, or whether it is human or transmicroscopic bacteria. Although Rayappa, greatest writer, we abuse land because we regard it as a commodity belonging to us. When we see land as a community to which we belong, we may begin to use it with love and respect. I am reading this quote second or third time in the class. It's worth it. It's worth a reminder. Read again and again because it's an ethical quote. Pierre Joseph Proudhon, a French writer, he writes about soil. It is deep ecology quote. All right. He talks about the soil. Beautiful, beautiful writing. It may be a little offensive to some of you. People viewed the land as something which enables them to levy certain revenue each year. Gone is the deep feeling for nature. People no longer love the soil. Landowners sell it, lease it, divide it into shares, prostitute it, bargain with it as an object of speculation. Farmers torture it, violate it, and sacrifice it to their impatient desire for gain. They never become one with it. We have lost our feeling of nature. Recluse. While nature is so beautiful, is it really necessary for man, in seizing it, to proceed with mathematical precision in exploiting each new conquered domain and then mark his possession with vulgar constructions and perfectly straight boundaries? If this continues to occur, the harmonious contrast that are one of the beauties of the earth will soon give way to depressing uniformity. All our constructions, they are depressing uniformity. Even Taj Mahal is a vulgar construction. We deem such a beautiful palaces and buildings and churches and cathedrals, they are nothing but vulgar constructions. There is no human creation which can be compared to the nature's beauty, like Himalayas, tropical rainforest, desert, lakes, oceans. They are elite. Humans can never recreate them. We are losers. Now we come to some of the quotes written on water, the Panjabhutas. How inappropriate to call this planet Earth when it is quite clearly ocean. Arthur C. Clarke. I mean, human delusion. Planet Earth consists only 25% of the land. 75% is water. So it is logical to call planet Earth as planet water. But human delusion, we are dysfunctional. We are a dysfunctional species. That's why we call it planet Earth. Right thing is planet water. That is what Arthur C. Clarke puts it. Toni Morrison, all water has a perfect memory and is forever trying to get back to where it was. It was in the ocean and it evaporates and it goes all over the world, travels all over the world without passport, without visa, and it rains wherever it wants. But again, all that water comes back on the earth and runoff at last infiltrates into the land and ends up in the ocean. So trying to get back to where it was. Hale Boyle, what makes a river so restful to people is that it doesn't have any doubt. It is sure to get where it is going and it doesn't want to go anywhere else. This quote should remind you of Medha Patkar. See, the river is sure to get where it is going. Narmada river was going to Arabian Sea, but now it doesn't go anywhere. It goes into human agriculture, human villages and houses. So this quote is disproved now by humanity. So we need to do justice to this quote, and we need to liberate those waters and let them flow where they want to flow. Because humans did not create rivers. Nature created rivers and they have their own rights. Here is the quote between sound and noise. Henry Beston writes as follows: the three great elemental sounds in nature are the sound of rain, sound of wind in a primeval wood, and the sound of outer ocean on a beach. Murray Bookchin is an author of social ecology. He is a very good writer on environmental ethics. I forgot about him when I was teaching about others. So please note him immediately. You write in your book and ask your librarian to buy some of his writings, Murray Bookchin. And he is telling that we should eliminate domination in all its forms. In all its forms. In economy, in ecology, in society, in politics, in religion. If you eliminate only in probably in society, that is not enough. Among only India, okay, let us eliminate caste system. You think you eliminated domination in all its forms? No. Even if you end the caste system, the other parts of hierarchy, and political hierarchy and religious hierarchy and economic hierarchy, you will not be able to abolish it. Caste system will go on in a different perspective. You can't eliminate it. So that's why Bookchin puts it, eliminate domination in all its forms, in economy, politics, religion. Of course, it will end up in society also. Thus, all our notions of dominating nature stem from the very real dominations of human by human. The domination of human by human preceded the notion of dominating nature. Indeed, human domination of human gave rise to the very idea of dominating nature. This means, obviously, that it is not until we eliminate domination in all its forms that we will really create a rational, ecological society where creation-centered approach, model, ethics can be practiced. It's a beautiful quote. Read it again later. This is what he started, social ecology. Today you go to Google and you type social ecology of Murray Bookchin and you will get to read good stuff. Here I don't have time to read, so I skip this slide and go to the next. Here is John N. Gray. He writes about the dominion model ethics, how only Western religions are obsessed with it. Eastern religions, they are not even aware of it. So that divides in a big way the West and the East. Among the world's religions, Christianity has always been one of the most radically anthropocentric. Christians believe humanity is separated from the natural world by an impassable gulf. Other animals exist to serve us. This Christian idea that humans are separated from other animals by an unbridgeable gulf is not found in all or even most religions. It is absent from Hinduism and Buddhism, Taoism and Shinto. It is explicitly rejected in the primordial religion of mankind, animism, in which other animals figure on terms of equality with humans, if not superiority to them. In his book called Heresies, he is writing this quote. You can read this quote again and again and again to reject dominion model ethic and also stewardship model ethic. I mean, you can use stewardship model ethic with caution, as I told you, with responsibility, faithfulness, and accountability. You can practice it. So you need not throw it out. We can use it, no problem. This is the famous author, Rachel Carson, 1962. Actually, environmental ethic movement started with Rachel Carson. She is a woman. I told you in 1970s the movement started. So actually I forgot to tell you, this is the person, one who started it. With the book Silent Spring, she wrote it. You know why she wrote the Silent Spring? Because in America, they were using DDT powder. In India, we still use it. In Europe and America, it is banned. So nobody can buy DDT powder there. So, but in 1960s, they were using excessively. So the residue or the effluent from the DDT was infiltrating all the water bodies like rivers, lakes, ponds. Complete DDT poisoning was going on. So there was a bird called bald eagle in America, famous, beautiful looking bird, bald eagle, that is the name. So the scientists were studying bald eagles, and bald eagles were not reproducing chicks. No babies. All the bald eagles are dying. Then the scientists investigate, and what they found was shocking. All the water bodies are contaminated by DDT poisoning, and the birds eating the fish from those waters, and they were laying eggs. Those eggs were not developing hard shell. They were leathery eggs. So when the eagle was sitting on the eggs were breaking. The talons were tearing the eggs, the leathery egg. So no chicks were coming. That was shocking, because DDT poison was preventing the egg, the formation of the hard substance. So Rachel Carson was an environmental activist, and she worked so hard that at last she passed the law in United States Congress, and they banned DDT powder forever. Then bald eagles, they were able to produce normal eggs, and they made chicks, and that bird is alive today. So you type bald eagle in Google search today, and you will get to read a lot of material. Here is the quote from Rachel Carson: "The most clearly we can focus our attention on the wonders and realities of the universe about us, the less taste we shall have for destruction." Among the accessible work that drew attention to the sense of crisis was Rachel Carson's Silent Spring in 1963, which consisted of a number of essays earlier published in the New Yorker magazine, detailing how pesticides such as DDT, Alrin, and Dialrin concentrated through the food web. Commercial farming practices aimed at maximizing crop yields and profits, Carson speculates, are capable of impacting simultaneously on environmental and public health. Look at those three: DDT, Alrin, and Dialrin. In India, you can buy anywhere. Those three substances are banned internationally, but in India, this poison can be bought by anybody. I'm sitting here in my house. My mother is there outside. She is having one bag of DDT powder in her pouch, and she goes and contaminates all the ants, all the bugs, and she kills. The son goes and talks about saving ants, saving reptiles, saving lizards. My mother in front of me goes and kills all the ants and everything, termites she kills. She walks always with DDT, Alrin, and Dialrin. She is walking with all poison substances all the time. You can buy them in India. What a country. What a country, what a country. Sare jaga se acha. India, Amara. You can buy anything in India. So I think environmental ethics, India is the best country for environmental ethics. It has a very good record, I told you. But in this country, you can also find DDT, Alrin, and Dialrin. It's being sold even today. And slowly our consciousness should ban all this and make environment to live without poison. So that